So we continue with the sense desire, kamachanda. And this is the second part. Last week I was talking about the sensual desire, looking at its characteristic. And all forms of sensual desire, we must learn to overcome them in the right way, in the right manner. So as I said that day, we must need, if the sensual desire arises, then we need to have, at least in the background, some degree of mindfulness to be aware that it's there. And then after that, we label them. We labeled it to see that whether it is that is a sensual desire. And then, what else? Once we label them correctly, then we also learn to accept them as they really are. Accepting them doesn't mean that we just let them be, but we kind of like contain it, not trying to push it away, not trying to want it to stay. Just let it be as it is. And then only the fourth way, we overcome it with various ways. Now we go back to the sharing of the screen. All right. Okay. Can you all see? Hey, where's all the four ways? Sorry, hold on. Yes. So we need some degree of mindfulness. Then after that, we recognize it, acceptance and overcoming. Now, if you are a more skillful meditator, by the time you see a sensual desire arises, very fast the mind goes into overcoming it because of the skills and of previously you have done it again and again. So very fast you have already gone into overcoming. So if you are still new, then at least you know what you are going through. In the way of vipassana, as I said, there are you look at them directly. You look at them directly. If it's a sensual desire, you look at it directly. Then you see how the sensual desire, that means you begin to recognize its characteristic. How is the sensual desire is like at that moment of time. The characteristic of like attachment, wanting, gripping, not letting it go. So that is when you see the sensual desire as it is. Another way of seeing sensual desire as they are, of course, you also look at its characteristics in the beginning, but then you begin to look at its condition. What are the conditions that is coming into the connected with the sensual desire? That is to say, if the sensual desire, then you may notice that there was a pleasant feeling. The pleasant feeling arises from the nice sound, nice music. Then you notice hearing, you notice the sound, you notice the desire, you notice the pleasant feelings, you notice the desire, sensual desire. Then with that sensual desire, also you take notice of the thoughts that arises together with the sensual desire. So a lot of times, if you are not meditating, all these things we see that as one clump. Everything is all mixed up. But in the vipassana, the mind, because of the wisdom factor, it can able to distinguish each and every of the components, and you can see those things how this one arises. Now, with this way, because of that mindfulness and mental effort and concentration and wisdom factor, and so on, all these wholesome mental states is being built up in the background. So when they build up in the background, they become stronger, then therefore the sensual desire will slowly or very quickly, they will disappear. It depends on how strong and how fast your noting mind arises. For more advanced yogi, then you noted the sensual desire a few times, they're already gone. Sometimes the sensual desire may not be strong. You note it once, also it's already gone. So it's perfectly all right. Sometimes you may not able to see much of its characteristics. It's already gone. It's perfectly all right because it's not strong at that moment of time. Okay. Now, in a way of vipassana, there's also what we call indirect observation. Direct observation, that means you, just now is what I say, that when you directly note on it. Indirect observation, it means that you know that the sensual desire is there, but you don't go and take note of it. You go to another object. You go to another object in order to arouse the mindfulness and arouse the effort and so on. Now, in the beginning of the practice, as I said, in the beginning of the practice, then we usually don't ask the yogi go and directly go and look into the sensual desire. You try to look into your rising, falling, in breath, out breath, lifting, pushing, dropping, all these movements. This is because that your mindfulness and your noting mind is not strong. When you go directly, go with the defilement, hindrances of the mind, usually or most of the time you're fighting a losing battle. So we ask you to go into another object, which is in a way called indirect observation. You build up on your mindfulness in order to overcome it. Now, there are also, in another, while a person, he's an advanced yogi also, he can also do it in this way. He ignores the sensual desire. He knows the sensual desire is there, but he ignores the sensual desire, but he look into the rising, falling, sitting, touching, and so on. Then the sensual desire at the background, it begin to disappear. That also it's possible. That is also is possible because sometimes you need a number of ways to try to overcome that sensual desire or those hindrances. One way, sometimes it doesn't work. So you need a number of ways. This indirect observation, mostly of the time, we use it, like for example, in the sitting and touching. No. In the sleepiness, then we ask you to go into sitting and touching instead of noting the sleepiness directly. So when you do the sitting and touching, the mind becomes alert. So this is also what we call indirect observation. So the whole thing is to overcome. Is to overcome the sensual desire or any of the hindrances. So your purpose is to overcome them. At the same time, mindfulness and so on, they are building up, which is wonderful. So this is on vipassana. This is on vipassana. On samatha level, all level of samatha jhana, if you have samatha jhana in the past, and a real samatha jhana in the past, then you'll be a wonderful, it kind of like you make your vipassana path or your path of enlightenment much more smoother. But doesn't mean it's shorter, smoother only, The path can be still very long. Now, here all the samatha jhana, when you come out from the samatha jhana and you use this jhana you go into vipassana and you begin to see the characteristics and arising, passing away, and so on. So while you're doing it, because of that samatha jhana, it's previously being developed, then it will prevent a lot of your hindrances from coming in. You don't have so much of this desiring mind, sleepiness, thinking, and so on. The mind can go on much more smoother because of the samatha jhana that you have. And also, of course, you must learn to maintain that samatha also. Because samatha practice, even the jhana, if you don't practice for it for some time, you will sort of lose that jhana. So you got to build up on the jhana, then you maintain it. Then with that, you come out, you switch over to vipassana, and then it makes the vipassana much more easier. But then, getting the samatha jhana is not as easy as you think it is, Sometimes some people thought that samatha jhana can get it within like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. No, not that easy. Not that easy. Sometimes, as I said, this samatha jhana, the corrupted one, there's a lot. Corrupted means that it's kind of like a upakilesa also, but not the real samatha jhana. Samatha jhana really, it keeps the mind really balanced. It keeps all the desire and everything out. So this is wonderful. If you have, it prevents a lot of your hindrances from coming in, which is wonderful. Then the second part of the samatha also, these 32 parts of the body or the 9 channel ground of contemplation. You see, I put 31, 32. It is because that in the 31 is, when you look at Satipatthana Sutta, there's 31. But the commentary add another one, 32. So you can actually enter into all this for the foulness of the body. And then you can also gain jhana also, first jhana only. But you cannot gain further, and we cannot gain higher jhana. Anyway, this one is this meditation on the foulness of the body. They are very specific to overcome the lust for the body, including the charnel ground meditation also, because the lust for the body, a sexual desire, these are one of the strongest sensual desire that a human can have. One of the strongest. And that also we have to have a very good meditation in order to counteract this strong sensual lust. So the first one, we look at the 32 parts of the body. Now these 32 parts and the 9 channel ground contemplations, they are specifically for sensual desire. There are also other form of, like for example, a certain kasina is for all temperament. Whether you are lustful or hatred or deluded also can be used. But these two specifically for lustful temperament or desirous temperament. And this one is good for all of us actually. Now, 32 parts of the body, if you're able to remember, you have to remember all the 32 parts of the body, and then you divide them into groups, like what is taught in the Visuddhimagga. So start off with, let's say, head, hair, body hair, nail, teeth, and skin. Head, hair, body hair. You got to remember it forward. You got to remember it backward until you are very sure when your memory about all this head hair, body hair, nail, teeth, skin, you go forward, backward, becomes so smooth, which is wonderful. Then after that, later part, you must able to imagine mentally where is the head hair. Head hair is in the head area. Where is the body hair? Body hair is in the body area, below the head and every part of the body. So then once you imagine its color, you imagine its location, you imagine its length or the shape or the form, then after that, you begin to reflect on that particular hair. Let's say that hair is in the food. Then if you reflect the hair is in your porridge or very long hair right there, then at time you see that the hair is not beautiful anymore. If the hair is still in the head, then we see this hair as beautiful. When the hair is like, for example, many of you every time you comb your hair, so many come out. Your whole desk, all full of hair. You go shower also full of hair in the toilet or in the bathroom also. You got to collect so much of the hair. As a monk, no hair, don't see any hair. It's only the devotees come in for the dana. Every day got hair. They know who they are. Anyway, that is how when we reflect the head hair, that's something that is not beautiful. Or sometimes you reflect the head hair with, if you don't wash the head hair, you just leave it be, and then it will naturally becomes maybe moldy, it becomes smelly, it becomes rotten, all these things. Then in that way, when you reflect on that, on its foulness, then the desire towards the body begin to lessen and disappear. It's a good practice. These 32 parts of the body, these are also one of the 4 guardian meditation for vipassana. So see which one is that you like. You can go into the Satipatthana. Let me stop your sharing here. Then we go into another. This one. Let me show you. Okay. Can you all see the this one? Can you all see? Okay. All right. Now, head hair. There. Head hair. Let me. Yeah. Sorry. Wait now. Where does it go? Okay. From here onwards. Head hair. Hey. Lawn. I don't want. No. I want to make this go hide notebook. Okay. All right. You see from the head hair onwards, Head hair, body hair, nail, teeth, skin, sinew, bone marrow, kidney. Which one you like? You like the kidney? Or you want to use the kidney? Then maybe you have to imagine how the kidney is like. You like the heart? Then you can use the heart, and you can imagine the heart is in front of you. You can, or you like the skin, for example. You imagine that the skin is like unwrapped from the body. It's only about 1 or 2 millimeter thick. And as if like the whole thing is like a very thin plastic. You're unwrapping the whole thing, whole body. Only the flesh only. Then you put the skin at the side there. And when you see the skin, how beautiful your skin is at that time. So in that way, we reflect that the foulness of the parts of the body. It is good for us to do it in this way because we want to stop this one now. I go back to this one again. You can see all right. You see over here, can you see the mark of attractive again? Okay. All right. Now the mark of attractive, because when we see something is beautiful, we see them as a whole. When you see a woman is beautiful, when you see a man is beautiful, the moment you see it as a beautiful, because we for example, we put the hair, the eyes, the shape of the body, the mouth, the skin, the nose, everything the mind already assembled them inside the mind. It perceived them as one. Because when you perceive them as one, then it's already, you look at it as beautiful. Because you look at the thing as a whole, it's called the mark of attractive. So when we are meditating, we should not look at the mark of attractive or the sign of attractiveness. So that means you should not look into either you don't look at it, or if you happen to look at it, you must not look into its specific nature of the person. Oh, the hair is like that. Oh, the eyes is like that. Oh, the mouth is like that. Oh, the body is like that, and so on. So we must not look into its sign. Once you look into its sign, that means the mind automatically goes into seeing it as attractive. Now, in order to not to see it as an attractive, then you must see in its foulness of it. Actually, I forgot to put another paragraph here. This paragraph. Anyway, I can do it right now. Let me share the screen again. Okay. We go into, not this one, this one. Yeah. Abandoning the hindrances. Can you see abandoning the hindrances? Wait, I put the word speaker a little bit for. Okay. Can you see the abandoning the hindrances? Okay. Can I? All right. Okay. This is how now. Okay. There. You see the one just because okay, because I do not see even other thing on account of unreasoned sensual desire does not arise, and a reasoned sensual desire is abandoned so much as the mark of unattractive. For one who attends carefully means you have yoniso manasikara to the mark of unattractive. The unreasoned sensual desire does not arise, and a reasoned sensual desire is abandoned. I forgot to put this paragraph together with this one. All right. The mark of unattractiveness. That means right now you got to see the body as something unattractive. That means you have to separate them into parts rather than put them together as a whole. So when they are separate into parts, then you begin to see its foulness. That means the mark, the sign of unattractiveness. Asubha nimitta. The Pali word, mark of unattractive, asubha nimitta. So here, one of the ways is to look into the 32 parts of the body. So how do you do it? There are ways that you can do it. So let me go to the library again. Here again. Okay. Now, while you are meditating, let's say you are doing vipassana meditation. You are doing vipassana meditation, and then after that, your sensual desire, sensual lust arises. Don't push it away. Don't suppress it. Don't attach to it. You know that it's there already. You knock on it, let's say you knock on it, it's still very strong. It doesn't want to go. Okay, now, let's say it doesn't want to go. What you do is that you reflect on the head hair. Head hair, and then you imagine the head hair of the person. Then imagine that the head hair is in your soup. If let's say the head hair is in the floor, and then head hair is that you're being trampled everywhere, then how beautiful the head hair. When you see the foulness, sometimes for some people, the desire at the background begins to disappear. Very fast, it disappears. Once the sensual desire disappears, you stop that reflection on the head hair. Then after that, you go back to noting your object. It's like a diversion out. There's one way of what you can do. And it's a good way, actually. Or which one you choose. As I said, you choose which one you like. If you find that the skin one, it's good for you, and then you do the skin. Or you find that the feces one is good, and then you do the feces. If you find the urine one is good, and then you do the urine. Sometimes you take one or two or three of the reflection, of this reflection, and you see its foulness. Then while you're meditating, and then you come out a little bit, contemplate on the samatha, on the foulness of the body. Once the desire go down, go back again to the vipassana. Then it's very helpful. Of course, initially you have to do, a proper meditation on this head hair, body hair. A proper at least you know how to do it first. So when you know how to do it, it's wonderful. When you are doing vipassana, you can incorporate this one just for a short while. Sometimes it maybe take you about a few minutes, then the whole desire gone. Sometimes it takes you a few seconds, the desire gone. So you can choose. The next one on this one, it's the 9 channel ground contemplation. Now, in the 9 channel ground contemplation, you see, in the Satipatthana, in the sutta, it's given a 9 channel ground contemplation or giant channel ground meditation. In the commentary, in the Visuddhimagga, there are 10 channel ground contemplation. All right, there are 10. So it doesn't matter whether you have 9 or 10, but here the difference between the 9 channel ground contemplation and the 32 parts, 31 parts in the Satipatthana Sutta, just now that we look into it, that what I'm going to say? No, the 31 parts just now is like all treated as one meditation. Treated as one meditation. Whereas 9 channel ground contemplation is treated as 9 separate meditation. Okay, there's a difference. You look at it into a 9 separate form of meditation. That's why you see it becomes 6 to become 14. So there's 9 ways. Now, how do you do it? Channel ground, it means that those days you don't bury the body. You put it in the ground, and then you wrap it up. In the olden days, you wrap it up and you put there in a particular area where people come and dump the corpses there, not underground, not underground. So, some people says that, some monks says that, or some teacher says that you must go to that particular ground and go and meditate there. That's a very strong smell, you cannot tahan. The smell is very, very strong because of a dead corpse. And you see how the dead corpse is rotting as the day passed through. As the more days pass through, it becomes even more smelly. Okay? But in the this one, it says that you can reflect. You may not need to go, but if you can able to reflect, that is also very good. If you have a very clear reflection about the stages of rotting of a body, then also is very good. If you have that state of mind, now maybe the first one, you see, again, because as though means that if you can reflect, he were to see a corpse thrown aside in the charnel ground 1, 2, or 3 days, dead, bloated, living, or oozing matter. A bhikkhu compare this same body with dust. This body too is of the same nature. It will be like that. It will not exempt from that fate. Now here, sometimes we can able to reflect especially not in the COVID time, especially when it's other times when people have a funeral for 3 days, or 3 days, or some people have funeral for 5 days, the wake for 5 days, not funeral, the wake for 5 days. Then you can see that sometimes the corpse, it begins to start to expand, it becomes too bloated. And you can, although the coffin is sealed tight, but you can somehow, when you go near the coffin, you can smell it. Especially we monks, we know that every time we go for funeral chanting, they make the monks sit near the coffin. And you sit near the coffin, you chant it, and you can smell it. Yeah? Anyway, now, because, of course, in a coffin one, they put all the dry ice and everything. You don't see it dead and bloated and livid. But if you put it in the charnel ground, you put it in the sunlight, then after 2 or 3 days, you find that it's really bloated out because of the gas and everything. Now, if you find this interesting, and it impact onto your mind, that means it's a good meditation object. Well, if it's impact your mind, it means it's good. That means the more terrible it is to you, actually is the better it is for your overcoming of lust. So how do you do it, this one? Now, it's the same way just now like what we do at the head hair, body hair. Now, this time, what you do is that you contemplate or you reflect when the desire arises, when the person, let's say you kind of like fancy a man, or fancy your husband, you fancy your wife, or fancy your girlfriend, boyfriend, when you're in the meditation. And those images is keep on coming in and coming in. And then what you do is that you change the images, that particular image, as a corpse. Now you change it as a corpse, and then you reflect that corpse already 2 or 3. Now how beautiful your partner is and everything. So in this way, when you reflect on those things, then the whole desire very fast, it drops. When it drops again, you bring it back to the vipassana, and then you notice the rising, passing away, rising, falling, and so on. It can be very helpful. It can be very helpful, and it just need you to take maybe 30 seconds or 15 seconds in order for all the sensual desire, gone, immediately gone. And then not only that, because it is a samatha reflection or contemplation, then when you come back to the vipassana objects again, the object also become very clear, very sharp to you. So this is one way that you can do it. One way you can do it. Now, if you don't like the 2 or 3 days bloated one, let's see what else can you have. So you can choose, Okay, the next one is this. As though he will see the corpse thrown aside in the charnel ground, being devoured by crows, hawks, vulture, dog, jackals. Because of the smell come in, or various kinds of worms, That's good. You imagine that the blood is, the corpse is full of maggots already. The one that the body with the flesh and the sinew, that one with the blood one, that one is a more interesting. Yeah. So you can choose. So that's why it's good that to understand the Satipatthana a little bit, the sutta a little bit, because it can be very helpful, especially when you want to overcome that sensual desire. Okay, so if you don't want the devoured one or the maggot one, you also can have like the skeleton with flesh and blood held together with sinews. A fleshless skeleton smeared with blood held together with sinew, or skeleton without flesh and blood held together with sinews. Disconnected bones scattered in all directions. Here, hand bone, there, foot bone, here, shin bone, thigh bone, and so on. Or you like the bones are bleached white after some time, heap up, and so on. You can read this Satipatthana if we don't have all the time to go through all these things. If I were to go through this topic, how many is inside here in the participant? Let me see. I think maybe 20% only will be coming in. Because you don't want to hear all these things. You want everything to be nice and beautiful. But this is one way of really to overcome our sensual desire. They are very strong in all of us. And to do this both of these two parts of the body, or this 9 channel ground contemplation, you must have mindfulness. You must have good mindfulness. You must have, at least initially, either you have a strong mindfulness or people that guide you through this meditation, which is good, because sometimes once in a while, we heard that when monks do this meditation wrongly, especially these two, because you are looking at those unattractiveness of the body, sometimes the mind becomes distorted. Instead of the reflection of non-attachment or asubha, and then it comes with mindfulness, but then they come with anger. Instead, they come with anger, they comes with aversion for the body, and then when you look at other people, you get very angry, you don't come near me, and so on, and then becomes mentally distorted. It means some health can have a mental health issue. So that's why mindfulness is very important in doing this too. And it's good also if you have a teacher to guide you. Not many teachers encourage yogis to go through this one, especially when you are a lay person, when you enjoy a lot of beautiful things, and when you reflect these things, sometimes the mind becomes a lot of distortion comes up. That's why teachers, sometimes they don't encourage yogis to do that. Now, when you do samatha meditation, all right? Now, when you do samatha meditation, compared to a vipassana meditation, although samatha meditation, sometimes it can abandon the sensual desire much more faster compared to a vipassana. But then, you don't see the characteristic of the sensual desire. Whereas in the vipassana, we are actually looking into its characteristic. And it's good that we understand its characteristic for a long-term basis. Not only just in the meditation, but understanding its characteristic of the sensual desire in many ways as how it appears to you. Also, you can able to use that in your everyday life. That you know that sensual desire arises already. Desire arises. You can acknowledge it much more faster than before. That means you can able to curb that sensual desire better Not until it becomes too much and it begins to give you all kinds of suffering only, then only we realize that all these are sensual desire. So it's good in the long run. So samatha one, it is sort of like it makes things disappear much more quicker. It also is good because sometimes our sensual desire flare up very strongly. With this contemplation, it brings down that flame of sensual desire very fast. It downs it off very fast. So both of them, samatha way and the vipassana way, they have this own strength. So this thing. Now, we go back to sharing of screen again. Okay, I can see, yeah? Okay, wait. Now we come to the other skillful ways. Other skillful ways, that means this time you are not in the meditation. That means and this one, it can be very helpful for all of you when you are not in the meditation. Yeah? Other skillful ways, when you want to overcome the sensual desire by reflection, that means you must have wise reflection, you must have proper reflection, yoniso manasikara behind it. How you want to maneuver it, in what aspect you want to maneuver it, to apply your mind at the first thing you need that right or wise reflection and wise thinking. Whereas the samatha and vipassana, when we are doing it, it's also yoniso manasikara. But it's kind of like a wise noting or wise attention, Whereas in here, you are not noting, you're not paying attention directly, but now you are more like reflecting. You're more of a reflection. So, what can you do? What area can you have a good reflection? Here, wise reflection on impermanence, death, old age, sickness, karma and vipaka, and the four requisites, and so on, which is good. Now, a lot of times, especially we Buddhists, after some time, you are in the Buddhist circle. Sometimes you sit down with your Buddhist friends. Oh, yeah, all old age already. You see, old age. Talk about old age. You talk about you don't have this strength, that strength. You talk about your hair getting white or getting gray. You're talking about your wrinkles. You talk about your teeth. You talk about your hearing. You talk about your cataract. You talk about your those things. When you look at those things in a more wisely reflect. And you reflect it in wisely in this sense, then you find that you can able to accept that old age is coming in. You can accept death is coming. You can accept certain sickness we are going through, or we will experience in the future. That means the acceptance is there. It's wonderful. It's good. Because a lot of times we talk about that. A lot of times we talk about karma and vipaka, in whatever ways that when you are, with your friends and so on, which is good. Because it in all these ways, it helps us to loosen here and there, loosen here and there our sensual desire or in another way, craving or attachment to life as a whole. We may not see its effect. We may not see its effect immediately, but because of our reflection again and again over the years, we find that the mind is much more easier, much more open to all these things. Although there's some little attachment here and there, no doubt, because this is only on a wise reflection. But it's good because with this wise reflection that you have, next time, because you don't think about sensual desire so much, that means when you go into vipassana or samatha practice next time in the future, then by habit, by mental habit, you don't go through all this sensual desire much in while you are meditating. You know? Because of the everyday habit that you have. Now, another thing is that these four requisites. The four requisites. This is especially for the monks and nuns, and also, of course, lay people also can reflect about these things. The four requisites here are like your shelter, your food, the medicine, the shelter, food, medicine. What else? Suddenly I forgot. Shelter, food, medicine. What else? Shelter, clothing. Yes, thank you. Yes, shelter, food, medicine, and clothing, or the robes, For us, it's the robes, but for you all, is this one. When you are in the meditation, when you go for a retreat, more or less you only have also have this four also. Mostly. Now, this four is the basic needs that monks need to have. And a lot of times we are encouraged to reflect upon these things. Take for example, like the food that we are eating, that we reflect on it, that this food is not for beauty, not eating for beauty, not eating for pleasure, not eating for this or for, it's only for the sake of sustenance of the body, in order we can able to develop the mind further, because it gave us a very good condition. Now, we also, in the other sense, that when we reflect on these things, the mind doesn't attach to the food so much. Doesn't attach to the food so much because of a constant reflection. Now, especially when you are sometimes monks, every now and then, because people like to give them good food, they want to give the best to the monks, because they also want to gain merits, and then they want to offer the best food. So the monks get a lot of good food, especially like in Malaysia. Like in Malaysia. Now, when it happens every day, the mind, if you don't reflect on this food, the mind becomes attached to all the habitual, you thought that every day is going to get a good food. But when things change, or some days you don't get good food, the mind can get angry. Or what are they doing? They don't like this. They don't like me. I said, the mind can think of all kinds of terrible things, that the devotees are boycotting and so on. The mind can think wrongly. So if the mind is not reflecting on when the good food is there, you just take it just for the sake of this one. If not, some monks, they are too pampered already, becomes habitual already. Then when things get not so good, they get bosong, they get very angry internally. Sometimes they say it out to the devotees also. So because of didn't reflect on the food that much. So you got to be, so as a monk or as a nun, this one you got to be very careful. Also too, sometimes you go into a meditation retreat, also the same thing. You don't expect that particular time is always good food for you. When people change and when the cook change, and then they'll get the food that you may not like it. Sometimes there are some people like that. They go into a certain monastery. They thought that after some few years, you got good food. Then after that, the cook change. Then after that, the cook is no good food, and then all these things are. So you reflect on those things, the things that we wear and so on. Even like, for example, like the things that our clothing, or robes, or your dress, or your shirt, or your pants, and so on. Although we don't go too much of, as as hopefully all of you don't go too much into fashion, into all this very expensive stuff. If you want or two, it doesn't matter, lah. But sometimes people like to show off. Everything has to be branded. So when things are not going your way, sometimes no, what I want to say, I forgot because I'm not wearing your clothes. But the thing is that sometimes people get very attached. Branded things has to be there, and when it's not branded, they also get angry. So hopefully, you reflect on the things that we wear. But the things that we wear doesn't mean that it has to be appropriate to the occasion. You have to be appropriate to the occasion. For example, like even we monks, and we want to go out, we have to dress. We have to put our robes properly before we go out. We cannot simply just put the robes in any way to go out. So we have to do it properly. So when we want to go to our seniors or go to our teachers, we have to put the robes in a proper manner. So we want to look into our juniors, also we have to wear our robes properly and so on. So we have a proper way of wearing robes on the proper time also. So for lay people also, you all should do it in that way. When you go to an office, when you go to a proper meeting, you have to dress up properly also. Not overkill, but dress up properly. When you go to a retreat, you dress up properly. When you go to a temple, you dress up properly. Some people come to a temple as if like they are going to a shopping mall. They want to reveal almost everything. You know what I mean? I think that means if you do it properly, there are some wise reflection is there also. Because there are Buddhists, they become over Buddhistic. Then everything they wear is like they are going for a retreat. They go to a shopping mall, they wear like a yogi. They want to go to anywhere, makan everywhere, eating or whatever, they wear like a yogi. It's not appropriate. You don't do that. You're lay people, you're not monks, you're not nuns. People judge you the way how you wear in the world. It's like that, And you say, don't care about what people judge you. No, I don't. You should be proper in how you wear this thing. Anyway, that is for you all to decide. So there are 4 things here. Controlling the sense faculties. Controlling the sense faculties here means that if you can avoid looking at things and going for beautiful things and so on, if you can avoid them, then okay. If you cannot avoid them, once in a while you want to enjoy, it's perfectly all right, especially for lay person. But you must learn to set the limit. And you cannot live like a monk or a nun. I, for example, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to go like to a restaurant, to a shopping mall, to this and that. And yet my mind can be okay, perfectly all right, As long as I go for exercise and keep the body properly, then okay. I don't have to go anywhere at all. But for some people cannot. Some people, even Buddhist devotees, bante. We have to go out and makan a little bit with the family, gather up a little bit. If not, now we stay at home, we can go siao bante. Understand? Once in a while you go out, but of course at this time you go with a risk, you all know that. But then there are people on the opposite end, they're afraid of going out, and they start to have all kinds of anxiety, all kinds of mental distortion and mental health problem. There's another extreme. Because they view everybody like they're having COVID. So you see, because the mind, because of the desire and the fear is there. Yeah? So if you want, if not to say that you cannot go for vacation, you cannot go for this and that, but if you can avoid them, at least for now, it will be very good. It will be very good, for yourself and also for your people who are near to you. Okay? Now, so happen if you cannot avoid them. So happen you cannot avoid them. They come and then you cannot avoid them. Then you have to be watchful of your eyes, or be watchful of your mind, or your ears and your senses. You got to put a lot of mindfulness there. Sometimes, for example, like sometimes there are beautiful ladies will come and seek audience with us. Will come and meet us and to discuss something and so on, to say hello and all that thing. So we as a monk also, we have to be very mindful, because that time you cannot avoid. You cannot like, okay, too beautiful, I don't see you. I don't see auntie only. Cannot be. So that time we have to be mindful. We have to be very alert. Yeah? Especially, honestly, especially like in Thailand. In Thailand, the ladies can be very beautiful. So you got to be, so the eyes and the ears has to be very careful. Not only their beauty is there, but sometimes when they talk, very lemak one, their words are very, not like here in Malaysia, but then they have a certain way of talking. Very gentle, and so it can melt the heart. So you got to be careful. Yeah. So you got to have a strong sense faculties. So too for lay people also. If you certain things at times you can avoid it. If not to say you avoid everything, but if you have just certain needs and certain wishes, then okay, it's perfectly all right. Moderation in food. Moderation in food here, it means that when you eat, you don't eat until like you are fully bloated. Moderation in food, that means that when you eat, according to the text, Visuddhimagga especially, you eat until like about your 80% full. 80% full, and then 80% full means that including your dessert also, And then with the 10% or 20%, you put it as a soup or your drinks. Yeah? So that one is called moderation of. You don't overeat. You eat what is enough for you. Now, moderation in food doesn't mean that every day the same amount. There are days you may eat even less than what you normally eat. But that is your moderation for that day. Another part is that some days you need more, and your moderation can be double what you've been eating normally. But that time, it's perfectly all right, because that time is moderation. So here moderation can be depending. It's not, doesn't mean that the same amount. So here is all about like 80% or 90% that you are full. You don't make it until become too full. At one time, I heard of a devotees. In the past, he was not a Buddhist. When they spend on food, now they spend like thousands and thousands of dollars in food. And sometimes they have to entertain the client and all that. So what they do is that they eat the food now. Everything comes in already. They eat the food already. Then so full already. And what they do is that they put a finger into their mouth and then to vomit the food out, all the food, whatever food out. And then after that, they eat some more with that. You see? After that, they eat all the food, the new food is all coming in somehow. Sometimes they got 10 course, 20 course or whatever, but it's all very expensive food. Because in order to entertain the client, you see, that is how extreme people can go, glutton. moderation of food. The next thing is this contentment on our belongings. Now, the contentment here, sometimes we learn about contentment, but in the text, they give you a little bit more about what is contentment. Here, the Pali word for contentment is called santuti. All right. The contentment here is called santuti in Pali. This one you can get it from, I think I forgot to put it here. There's one called in Sutta Nipata called the rhinoceros horn. The Sutta on rhinoceros horn. What's the Pali this one? And in the commentary, contentment. Also in the Mangala Sutta, also in Sutta Nipata, also they got contentment. They tell you about what is contentment. Now the contentment here, it's for our physical belongings or our physical gains, and not for spiritual gains. Spiritual advancement is not for the contentment. Is not for that. Contentment is just only for physical belongings. That is to say, connected to the four requisites, that because when you do the commentaries, especially in the commentaries, they always connected with the four requisites when it comes to the physical connection of the monks or the nuns. Now, some devotees, once in a while I heard, they said that they are contented with their spiritual gain already, with their spiritual development already. You ask them to go for a retreat, Bante, many years I gone already, now I don't already, now enough for me already, enough for me already, retreat time over already, I got other things to this one already. They are contented with whatever their meditation. So too, like some people, like when it comes to spiritual development, they do not want to go for any form of further development of their meditation or any form of higher, in the sense of even dana, sila, or bhavana. Then, for example, that they are contented with doing wholesome deeds. Like they are Vesak devotees or Katina devotees. Once a year only they come to the temple. You ask them to do more? No, thank you. Are they Buddhists? Yes, we are Buddhists. But how many times you go to do dana? Once a year. Once a year. Once a year enough already. That spiritual gains, they are very contented. But physical for them, physical gains is never enough. It's never enough. They want more and more and more. Contentment doesn't mean that you all cannot look for more, But if you need to look for more, then is there a need for it or not? For me, for example, one computer, one laptop for me, it's good enough. I'm contented with it already because it helps me to do many things. But for you, maybe your contentment is like you need 10 laptops. Because you have your business, you have your subordinates, and you need to give them all this laptop for them to work. So maybe 10 is not enough, 20 maybe not enough. So if it has a need, then by all means. But we don't go overspend and overdo and everything. So this is what it means for contentment on the physical gains. Now in the text, in the commentary, they tell you of 12 types of contentment. Here, that means you're contented oneself about the four requisites. That means whatever that you're being offered right now with the food, let's say the food today, you are offered good food, contented with it. Don't get attached to it. Don't get attached to it. Other days when you are offered the food is not so quality-wise, it's not so good, then don't get angry about it. Then learn to accept it as they are. Uh, and then in that way, whatever that's been given to you, then you are contented with it. Sometimes you are getting a better ropes, sometimes we get not so good ropes, then we are contented with it. We are contented with it. So too, the same thing also. Sometimes when you go for a retreat, also the same thing for some of you. When you give that particular room, sometimes the organizer gave them that particular kuti, quiet kuti, busui, my. Then they go and choose another kuti. This one, too far away my. They are not contented. Sometimes they are very. Sometimes they are yogis. They go to the this and they can bully the organizer. They want this one, they want that one. They are not contented with whatever is given to them. So now sometimes in the certain retreats, I give the yogis the room. Then you want to change your room, you come and see me. And you know, most of the time they dare not, or 100% they dare not come and see me. They quite kia. Then you don't have to quarrel and so on. If not, when the other people, the organizers gave it to them, and they can still want this and want that. Anyway, so being contented is good. Being contented is good. Whatever that you get. Speak in praise of contentment. That means not only you are contented, but you speak about the contentment, because that contentment, when it doesn't give you much of sensual desire, your mind doesn't hankering over those objects, over those robes or those clothings or those this and that. When you speak about it, also is a form of content about. It's good. Yeah? Do not engage in improper search. Do not engage in, that means you don't lie your way, you scheme your way into try to get that particular things. For example, if you need, for example, let's say you want a business, and you need that. You don't scheme your way and try to cheat people and so on. And also for monks, also the same thing. That when you need something, you don't try to scheme your way to your devotees. Even the devotees don't want to give you. They don't have the means to give you. Then you purposely put the devotees in the corner in order for them to offer it to you in this way and that way. So that is not proper. You don't, because of that. Desire is so strong, and then sometimes the monks are very cunning. They use it not a very straightforward manner. Sometimes there are monks who need something, for example, but devotees may not able to offer it at that particular time, or particular model, or particular brand, or particular thing. Then if they don't get that particular one, sometimes the monks get angry. Or sometimes the devotees may not have the means to offer to the monk, may not have the financial means to offer to the monk. Sometimes we cannot offer, the monk also get angry. So all these things are, because they are not contented. When they're contented, if you have, work with, okay with it. You don't have, okay with it. If you get a lower quality one, you're okay with it. You get a higher quality one, you get okay with it. This is all called contentment. All right. Now, these two, right speech and association with the less, we're going to talk about it on the next talk, because these two, right speech and association with the right people, that will reoccur. It will repeat in all the hindrances. Okay, for now, I think we stop here for tonight.